Welcome back to the LCS Challengers. We just finished watching AOE taking on Evil Geniuses Challengers, and Evil Geniuses Challengers picking up a win here in Game 1. And Summer, we got to talk about it. Between the break, you were saying this might not have been the cleanest game from either side.
Yeah, I don't think it really was. I think there were some moments of brilliance, I'd say, specifically AoE's time where they punished Evil Geniuses in their own base, and I think Evil Geniuses' Nocturne pick actually was pretty effective in the early game especially, but mid-game, I think most of the cleanest games in history don't have that level of really big back and forth fights.
Fair. And Andrew, I know as we were looking at it, right, we set this up as the day of Shaden versus Will. I mean, Shaden won the game. Is that enough for him to say he came out on top?
He won the beginning of the game, and he won the end of the game. Everything else in between, I'm going to have to credit Will a little bit here. That Vi was looking pretty good in setting plays up for AoE. It got them within striking distance of EG a couple of times, but it was not enough to stop Ryoma and King, who had a brilliant performance here in this first matchup.
There you go. Well, in order to relive some of the things that happened in that last game, we are going once again with a bit of a fan favorite this time around. I know we always enjoy it on the talent, and we have to make sure that the new OQ casters here in the Challengers League for the first time will have an opportunity. Yeah, this is your hazing ritual. You have to play pixel perfect with us. And as we go up on the screen, we have this coming through. It is new and improved. Steve gave me the assets, and I said, nope, we're going to make new ones. So this is what we got going on. So if you've never played this game going on, we have 3 categories. You have the 16-bit. Those are the easy ones, okay? You have the 8-bit. Those ones are somewhere in between. Then you have the 1-bit, which are basically impossible, okay? I'm also not Steve. I didn't put all the 1-bits from the end of the game. Everything is mixed. You can be anywhere at any point of the game. And so, Summer, typically, color casters dominate this game. We actually remember the game.
Okay.
Play-by-plays tend to struggle with this one, and so in order to give you a bit of an advantage here,
about what's in front
Andrew,
of me. That's it.
you're gonna go ahead and pick first. What category would you like us to start with?
Oh god! All right, let's start in the middle. I'm gonna go 8-bit.
All right, 8-bit number 1. Can you tell me,
Jesus.
Mr. Grapes, what is happening in this image for 2 points?
I see 2 charms. I also see Shaden is level 14, so it's a little bit later into the game. Other than that, I guess Breezy went in with it with an ulti at some point on the Rakan. Who is he targeting here? Oh my goodness. Is this okay, this is the play that happened in the game.
Yeah?
Yep.
Accurate.
Around the Baron at like 20 something minutes.
I need more context than that. You got 5 seconds.
Okay, it's not the King stopwatch. It's
4,
AOE lose
2.
AOE lose Baron. AOE lose Baron to EG.
That is not the answer.
Can I
Smacks.
steal?
You can steal for 2 points.
I think this is at the Baron Pit. I think this is when they engage around that Baron Pit, and then Lynx gets charmed. I think that's the bottom charm, just when he gets charmed up, and then one shot, and then the Rakan engage gets stuffed. I think that's what's going on here.
Is it 2 different charms?
That actually kind of happened twice. Could you tell me which one you think it was?
It was the one where Ryoma went crazy, and it was just Ryoma and Smoothie alive at the end.
At least according to my notes.
The levels are too low.
The final fight. This is the end of the game. This is the
last one.
This is the last one. This is the one where...
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, Breezy jumps in, and look at how far away Darkwings is, not able to participate in this. King goes nuts in this one, grabs a triple kill, and earns Evil Geniuses their win off of this fight. I tried to get it, that was an 8-bit, just so you have a bit of an idea of how difficult this is going to be, but because of that, we have to reset with 0 points on either side, and that means it is Summer's selection. We've already seen one 8-bit. Where would you like to go next?
Let's do another 8-bit.
Another 8-bit. All right, 8-bit number 2. Summer, what is going on in this photo?
Oh, this is Smoothie's big ultimate when the Annie ult hits. I'm pretty
Ding,
sure.
ding, ding!
Yeah,
That
yeah.
is exactly what is going on in this one. We see that Darkwing's flashing over the wall, trying to catch King, and Grapes, you were calling out that this is normally where Will's supposed to follow up, but he gets so much distance because he just gets an instant cleanse on the Tibbers that King is able to get away. Smoothie had a couple of big ults this game, but this was the first one that really made a big impact on it and really started giving a lot of opportunities to the rest of Evil Geniuses. So with that, Summer, you go out ahead and earn yourself 2 points off of that one. Now we go right on back to Andrew Grapes. How? We only have 16 bits and 1 bits left.
Give me the 16. I need
16,
the
the easy one?
We're not ready.
Yeah.
This is the easy. This is one of the easy ones.
Okay. This is when they try to burst out King here with Ryoma. Sorry, with Darkwings. Darkwings and Will just like flash forward, and then they kill Ryoma here. Or no, they kill King here. And then I think they take one more after this when they're chasing down. Like Will tries to continue to go, and then Darkwing's like, "Nah, I'm good." Like he walks away a little bit.
Ding, ding.
Yes!
This is exactly right. That's a point going over to Grapes. That is the catch that they had onto King around here. And this was, I really like this one because we've been hyping up Darkwings and Will as a combination that have been so good at selecting their targets, going in super, super quickly. And this was one of the perfect examples of how they actually caught onto the AD carry for Evil Geniuses, putting a stop to some of the craziness that Evil Geniuses was doing. But with that, we still have a couple more left to go. Smacks, we have one more 16-bit and both of the 1-bits available.
Give me a 1-bit.
Give out 1-bit, all right.
Jumping off the deep end.
Tell me, Smacks.
Oh my god!
What is happening
What the?
in this photo?
Okay, this is the icon is Vi shattering someone's armor. Is that good enough?
No.
Like I know.
You gotta
I
tell
know
me what is
that's-
happening in the rest of the game. Why is this shatter important?
Because is this when they kill King through his stopwatch on the bottom lane when they're sieging the inhib?
Andrew, this is your chance to steal.
Oh, shoot. Okay. Armor shredding. Will going forward. God. Is this the other play that we were talking about before, like around the Baron? I'm gonna keep firing that one out.
If he just says Baron Pit often enough, eventually he's going to be right.
Yes.
In fact, this is when there were 2 2v2s happening at the same time across the board. This is when Will saves his own life by proccing the shield. And this was what really kind of set up Will and Darkwings to start getting really strong across the board and allowed them to come back and put themselves in almost an equal game in the mid game. This is where it all starts, where King and Darkwings and Will both start ramping up super, super fast. So, no points for that one. No points for that one, but we are going right on back. Now, who took that one? Was that Smacks? That picked this one?
I picked, yeah. It's Andrew's turn.
Andrew, there's one 16-bit and one
Give me
1-bit.
the 16. I'm gonna at least try to hold a tie and then force someone to get the hard one.
Tell me, Andrew, what is happening in this photo?
King, press the stopwatch.
Okay, good.
That's it?
Why? Give me a little bit more context than that.
Went golden to stop Will's ult.
Okay.
And then it was like, this was bot lane here, I can see.
Okay.
And this is when AOE turned the game right here.
Yeah, this is exactly right. So another point. Oops, that's the wrong button. Will go. There we go. That's the full screen. This is when Will, as you're talking about, sets up another opportunity to try and bring this one back, forcing King into the stopwatch, and it's almost instantly followed up by Breezy. And this is where we go into this game. We're like, oh my god, is Evil Geniuses really about to lose this game? AOE with another crazy fight. Are they still, even with all new players, winning games that they're not supposed to? Turns out it was not to be. But Smacks, that leaves us with one final category left. We'll go ahead and pull it up on your screen. Summer, can you tell me what is happening in this photo?
No, but I'm gonna try. Okay, it looks like somebody's level 3. So this is really early. Okay, is this the first Vi gank? Or not Vi gank. This is the first Nocturne gank up top lane. Yeah, this is that's Nocturne's fear onto Cassante up in the top lane. And they kill for first blood. Where
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
That's what we need to see.
I
That's
knew that
3
one.
points going right on over. It's not
Yes.
level 3, but it's level 7. The first
level
blood.
7. Okay.
That's the words I was looking for, as you do get that fear coming through. And fascinatingly enough, Shaden does actually get the spell shield here off of what we were seeing coming through from the ultimate from Concept, but they come through. We were asking this game, we've been saying that Soul has not been living up to our expectations, but when you give him this much attention early on in the game, when you give him multiple kills, because Shaden is paying attention to this top lane, it is enough to actually take down AOE, making sure that Soul is able to participate in this one. And that is, of course, that's it. I believe, yeah, a score of 5-2. Colorcaster dominance continues. Do you have a victory speech prepared?
Good game.
Good game. GG. Well played.
There we go.
There you go. All right. Well,
we missed really bad. Okay.
it's all right. This game
did.
is always super, super tough. But as we are finishing this one up, it was a tough game. It was back and forth, and it was really very focused on a couple players. Shaden, we always knew was going to be big. Will had a huge set of moments in the mid game, but it really was at the very end King's ability to free hit during the last fight that set this one apart. As we start getting into this next game, we'll leave this over to Grapes. Who do you think are going to be the big players in Game 2?
I want to see more out of Will. I thought that was pretty an impressive showing. Also, Darkwings in the mid lane. Felt like there were multiple instances where he tried to Timber stun somebody a little bit too early and the rest of the team wasn't able to follow up. Part of it was Soul and Shaden doing a good job frontlining, but the other part is just making sure that AOE is on the same page.
Perfect. And with that, let's go ahead and get them into draft to see if your predictions come true.
Thank you very much, Joshi. We will see you for an interview at the end of the series, and we are back here on the pick and ban screen for AOE's attempt at evening up this series with EG 1-1.
And EG staying on red side here too. AOE going to blue. Probably going to get a very similar set of bans here. Yumi's already gone. Lucian's already gone. You touched a little bit about what we're expecting to see out of AOE a bit differently. I think for EG, I would actually really like to see them clean up that that communication structure that we had in the mid to late game where they almost threw. I think this is sort of a common trend where we saw Fear do that a bit on Saturday as well, and now EG doing a bit of it as well. They didn't actually lose this game. They didn't fully throw it to AOE. They brought it back, but I would still love to see them talk to each other better about what needs to happen in these games and what their loss conditions are especially.
I'm still thinking about the Pixel Perfect. I wish that I got that one pixel one instead. I should have just trusted myself because I knew that was going to happen. I set it up for you. You succeeded. And that's how it goes sometimes.
It's a team effort.
Yeah,
we got
work
7
together.
points.
I did notice that a lot of the clips did kind of reflect that thing that I was talking about with AOE and EG actually also like not being on the same page. This topic of communication that we've both been discussing throughout the beginning of this pick ban phase. And hopefully we see that cleaned up a little bit. And right now it looks like they will be using very similar champions as you're alluding to. All 5 of the bans so far are remaining the same from game number 1.
Yeah. It is week 1 of 6, all 6 bans as well, by the way. So the communication doesn't necessarily need to be all there immediately, but I'm hoping that we get some more growth moving forward. And maybe in this next game too, as we've got another Milio game for Smoothie, another Vi game for Will. And yeah, this draft is looking exactly identical.
I wonder where we've seen this before, yeah. Ari hovered right now. We did see some respect thrown on the hover, at least to Darkwing's Annie from that last game. I wonder if maybe EG want to change things up, but no. It will be, once again, Ryoma on that Ari. Struggled in the early game, for sure, but really took over. Had a really great last couple of team fights.
Right. Well, the counter pick is there again for AoE. They've got the Annie, and for EG, if things go exactly the same as well, then we might be seeing another Jinx into the Aphelios for King and Lynx. And yeah, okay, everyone's playing their parts so far. I think for phase 2 in salty runbacks like this, you oftentimes see the big adaptations come through there, but it looks like EG's actually responding to that already, trying to get the Gragas unlock beforehand, knowing that King does have other AD carry options to go for with the Milio. And that's not even to say that AoE is going to ban Jinx. They might even not.
Yeah, Zeri is still on the board as well. Other picks like the Jhin, which we saw a little bit on like 13-10, maybe not as much on this patch, available for King as well. But Soul getting this Gragas, I'm very excited to see that. with them selecting it here on R3, it means that they do get to ban away some of Concept's counter picks. The Olaf, maybe a Cassante as well, as that was his response in game number 1. And we do see the Jinx taken away here by AOE. So the Salty Runback is over, and we will see some different champions on the board.
Yeah, it could also have been Rakan here. I think that would be pretty reasonable to do. No, all right. Back to the top lane. A couple of the champions, as you said, that Concept might want to respond to Gragas with. Sion is gone. Rakan, maybe the option for Breezy. It seemed to be a bit of a struggle bus for him in the last game, not necessarily able to follow up so well on the engages from Darkwings and Will. Some of that was on Darkwings and Will, to be fair, though. I remember there was that one engage where Darkwings popped the anti-ultimate, popped the flash, and there wasn't really any follow-up possible for him. So again, would love to see some more coordination here. Will be difficult, though, into a Xayah, who is a much more defensively oriented AD carry for King.
Yeah, you can pop that ulti, and all of a sudden Will's ultimate doesn't really have a whole lot of value, and maybe AoE decide to alter their playstyle, alter their composition just a little bit on these last 2 picks. They're looking for a support for Breezy that can help the rest of the team thrive. Another tank in the top lane here for Concept as well. The Ornn coming in, still, having multiple threats on King means you can only use that ulti once, but for now, like a pretty good game play Xayah here, as Lulu will be the last pick here for Breezy.
Moving back to the Enchanters, AoE locking in a more engage-oriented, more frontline-oriented top laner for Concept. Ornn, a bit easier to function in those 5v5 situations than the Cassante, so with that, you don't necessarily need as much engage from the support position, and now the damage is going to be very, very high for Lynx. That's always something you have to keep in mind when you are in the late game scenarios with the hyper carry champions, where the enemy team has Emilio with all the Enchanter stuff, with all the Ardent Sensor and everything, and you're stuck with a Rakan who's not really empowering you all that much. So now they're more on even footing here, although EG now has 2 marksmen to play with.
Yeah, and Smoothie has a lot of AoE shielding and enchantment power in his kit with the Emilio, so even though there are now two mouths to feed, it's pretty easy to do that on this champion. The Shaden Kindred going to get locked in. Yeah, oh, I guess 2 of them for Shaden as well. Yeah, into the Vi, I think it's a pretty solid match. You can scale pretty well in the 1v1, and so I'm excited to see him try to impact the map a little bit better on this pick, because after he hit level 6 he was good on the Nocturne. Maybe we can see a little bit more early here for Shaden this time.
And this Kindred was banned away last game too. AoE does know that Shaden can be very threatening on this champion. I mean, we've seen Shaden hit rank 1 and rank 2 simultaneously on the ladder in the past, playing things like the Kindred, like the Graves as well. These champions that can really take over entire games work very well on solo queue, and he's proven to be able to do that at the highest level on the North American ladder anyway. So we'll see if he can make it work on this team of his in the Challengers League. Now, with King stepping into this roster with the first win of the series under their belts, a lot of the priority in this draft is onto Shaden as we get onto the Rift here. Hey.
We're all tied up 3-2 throughout week 1 of this NACL Summer Split. AoE has the opportunity to get a little bit ahead. Hey, thank you, Mirage. Love seeing Grapes and Smacks on the cast. You can check us more on the qualifiers. We'll be here 10 a.m. Pacific time on twitch.tv/LCS Challengers, or no, Rally Cry Official and Rally Cry 2 if you want to see some more NACL queue before NACL gets underway.
Hooray qualifiers! Yes, you will be able to find us in many, many places. And yeah, again, thanks to everyone on NACL for bringing us up here for this one. It's been a very, very fun few days. Of course, if you want to have your tweets show up, first of all, be sure to compliment me. That's the best way to get the tweets on the screen as shown right there. But also use the hashtag. Yes, of course I am. Use the hashtag NACL, follow us on Path to LCS, and you can do exactly that. As we start this game off with a little bit of a ward. They will spot out Will's first buff take.
That's always important when you have a Kindred in the jungle, making sure that you are tracking the enemy, both maybe pick up a mark onto his head, or also making sure that they're not around a potential Rift Scuttle that could be a bit of an impactful play for Shaden, getting those marks. Kind of a bit of a gamble. Going to be starting on the bot side, working his way up towards Soul on the Gragas.
Ooh, one last thing to shout out here, in case you haven't already. Drop those subs. No, that's a Yumi stare. That's not Plink. We have a very
Right.
specific emote for this channel. Look at that. It's Yumi right there.
So cute.
It's really,
Oh my
really
gosh.
cute. And you can use that emote just like us if you subscribe to the channel. And of course, subscribing to the channel to support the players. So be sure to do that. It's good for everybody involved.
Yeah, of course, in the recent changing ecosystem, making sure that we have priority on helping these players do their best to make it into the LCS to help our region. Show your support if you are, of course, financially able to do so. It would mean a lot for everybody involved, including the players you see on your screen right now. And speaking of, gotta track the junglers once again as they will both be full clearing towards opposite sides. Soul is shoved up rather heavily, but we did see Shaden make an early play towards him a couple times, which got him a big advantage.
Shaden actually did skip the Raptors, so maybe looking for something at this level 3 hit. Maybe not, as he's going right back to those Raptors. You typically do see Raptors red and then Krugs to end off the clear as fast as possible. But yeah, just making some little deviations to try to make sure you're available for the rest of your team. I always love to see that one from these junglers, just being very aware of the position of the game and hitting those F keys all the time.
Making sure you're tracking everybody on the map. That's a very important skill if you're a jungler. I can not do that very well when I play jungle, so there's a reason I'm talking about the game instead of playing on the stage. As we say that, King and Smoothie getting pressured in pretty heavily down on the bottom side as Shaden does complete the full clear and does get the coin flip. We'll be able to pick up that Rift Scuttler on the top side of the map.
I don't think Darkwings is going to care enough about that to stop his position in the mid lane, and will go directly over to Shaden. One mark already off to the races, right? And he's using the Pioshik skin too. Love that.
Very cool. Shout out to DRX. Shout out to Team Liquid, not Evil Geniuses, unfortunately, anymore. See, Soul have a point in queue. This is a point that Josh actually brought up in some of our like messages during the game. Soul did not put a point into queue in the last matchup against Concept's Cassante, instead trying to focus on getting some extra bonks, more points in W, but now a little bit of extra poke, able to maybe give a little bit of extra range against Orin, who has, of course, that volcanic pillar, to make sure that you can match that range a little bit.
And the wave clear is definitely there, but we gotta talk a bit more about the big difference in this top lane again, because Concept on the Orin is more of a late game presence here. And for Lynx too, he's got that Enchanter, so these two guys, Concept and Breezes, actually, wait just 1 second.
Oh, the flash!
Oh my god!
You cannot flash away once that animation comes through. First blood for Soul.
Okay, well, I wanted to talk about Concept in the late game, but we have to have a reality check here. What are we doing in the early game, Concept? We're getting solo killed by Soul. First blood top lane. 2 games in a row for the Soul Gragas. Looking very, very good today.
Yeah, already off to the race. He's going to pick up a Bammy Cinder. That's going to be huge in lane, adding a lot of power in that matchup against Concept. Jaden hovering around mid lane, going back towards his Raptor camp. Take another look up on this play. As soon as that W animation starts, Concept can't get away from it.
You know, it's all fun and games getting all the grasp procs and everything until you get flashed body slammed on. And then all of that health that you've stacked up little by little, it doesn't really feel too good anymore. Concept's, again, gonna have to consider what's gonna happen in the late game very, very soon for him, hopefully. And hopefully for AOE too, because this comp very oriented on the scaling for especially Lynx in this game.
And a little bit of a difference, now having that Lulu in the bottom lane here for Breezy does allow for Will to pick up the first dragon of the game for AOE, and now kind of slowing things down once more. Shaden continuing to try and power farm his way to items to make sure that he's powerful in these fights. I look for a play in the mid lane though as Ryoma dashes forward with Spirit Rush. Charm lands, and so does the Tibbers. Darkwings does have to flash away, but another dash and a flash out of Shaden comes through. 2-0 Evil Geniuses.
Oh, the flash out of Darkwings was a little bit too late because Shaden got the E down, which does have a pretty nasty slow attached to it, giving him enough time to get into position. Of course, Darkwings was headed in the wrong direction, so he was probably dead regardless. But now, no flash, no HP, dead very early on into this game, and a kill over to Shaden, no less. 1,000 in the lead for Evil Geniuses. This is feeling like an even stronger position than what they found themselves in last game.
Yeah, it was a very neck-and-neck early game last time these two teams faced off. Now, see that slow upward trajectory for EG, and a large part of that is due to Shaden here on the Kindred. Having the path towards the top lane allowed for Soul to farm well enough to get that solo kill, and now a play towards mid means that Shaden is off to the races as well. 2 of the 3 components of that Triforce already in his inventory.
Trinity Force, of course, that new build on the block for many, many champions, most of them marksmen, which is really fun. Kindred, one of the most powerful, I think, with the new item. Speaking of the jungle, though, Will still on the Vi like he was in the last game. Doesn't have to worry too much about the counter-engage coming at him from the Paranoia this time around. I think the ultimate is a bit more mismatched for this game, and Will, we're really going to need to see him get that cease and desist down in one of these lanes very, very soon, because you can't just let everyone bleed out and try to get to that late game. You got to take matters into your own hands, or in his case, the gauntlets.
Those big fists, punching down his enemies. And we've seen a lot of Will doing that towards jungle camps at the beginning of the games that he has played so far in the summer split. Not as much early game shenanigans as we maybe saw out of Will in years past when he was a big facilitator jungler on Dignitas and 100 Thieves. Now the play for AoE seems to be using Will once you hit level 6, getting some of the mid-game powers of this team. And so because of that, Evil Geniuses have been able to get a pretty big gold advantage for themselves. They are starting up this Herald. It's about 2,000 HP. Lynx and Breezy, though, looking to try and contest, and Will and Darkwings have finally arrived. The patience is going to wear off, and Shelly will reset.
AoE seemed pretty satisfied with their first reset, their first little exchange there, but they can't really stick around for another one. That top lane is crashing really hard. So many minions would have been lost if AoE stuck around over there, so seems like Evil Geniuses have called their bluff, going right back over to that objective. Gonna be taking that one for Shaden. Even more gold the way of the Kindred, and more to come as well if they can get that onto some of these plates. Perhaps in the top lane, that's what they did last game with King, finding so many plates up there.
Soul had a good timer there as well to get a roam to mid when Concept did not have teleport. That also allowed for Shaden to get that power towards the Herald. And now Ryoma going to try to spot out Darkwings with a charm, but Will's here to respond. Oh, the Tibbers just a bit short as Ryoma will survive with the Spirit Rush.
Oh man, that was tough from Darkwings. It was really close. It does. It happens to multiple people in this series so far as well. Seems like Will is looking top lane right now. Shaden's not in a great position to counter this, but there's not enough minions, it looks like, quite yet for Will, so back away.
Herald still in Shaden's pocket. He's on the top side of the map. This is where, as you said, Summer, Evil Geniuses tried to funnel some gold into King. Like, maybe a play could be made. Have to be careful with Will so close. Yeah, looks like they're still going. The wave is going to get blocked up here by King. Ooh. Now Shaden arriving here. Has a lot of gold here. There's a knockup from Smoothie. Lynx has to burn the Ghost and the heal out of Breezy as well.
Okay, trading those for the flash out of Smoothie and some time out of Shaden also. It's worth noting that the Drake is up in less than 30 seconds, and if Shaden wanted to be there on spawn, he would have recalled by now, but he is not doing that and instead trying to get this push off in the top lane. AoE could have the opportunity to start that one up and bring themselves to 2 Drakes in a row.
Yeah, I thought that Shaden was just going to drop the Herald, give away the Dragon in exchange for a couple of extra plates towards King, but it looks like EG will be going for this reset. They know that because Lynx and Breezy were up in the top side, there's not a lot of numbers on AoE around the Drake, and so Will hasn't even started the objective up just yet, and will be spotted out by Shaden, who has made his way back down. So it will be a pretty contested fight. Evil Genius is comfortable in this situation.
Yeah, even considering Will was on this side of the map beforehand, King and Smoothie got to recall first, so Lynx and Breezy are very late to this one. I don't think AoE can reasonably start this up, but they did get some vision here, so they know that Smoothie and Shaden are considering this objective. They even have the Scuttle Crab to start this one up too. A counter engage could happen for AoE if they want it, as they do also have Ornn ult, but Seems a little shaky right now, Grapes. I don't think they're doing it.
Yeah, they're going to give it up. Darkwings is just going to shove that top wave in very far from the Dragon. Maybe try to get one plate in response. But Evil Geniuses picking up their second straight objective essentially for free.
Oh, I think this is the perfect opportunity to drop a Herald, too.
Yeah.
We were maybe looking at having it happen in the top lane for King, but bot is just as good.
Maybe not, though. Here comes AOE. The Call of the Forge God lands in onto 2, and King has to burn the ulti early. Will has the cease and desist. It lands in onto the Zion. The Wild Growth comes through. Lamb's Despite buys enough time for Soul to come through with the TP, and the Bamba sends Lynx back. He will survive for now, but his body slammed and taken out by Shaden. Concept has to flash out, and now EG have the numbers advantage and will get the Herald proc bot.
Oh, that Vi ultimate is so strong, but if Shaden's in position, it can't do anything but watch. As this could be a pincer underneath the turret with the Herald arriving.
Yeah.
They're not going to look for anything.
Darkwings is waiting for EG to maybe contest before joining the fight, but it looks like that pressure was enough for EG to back away. But they are still ahead in kills 3-0, 2,000 in the lead in terms of gold. It's a very strong early game for them in this game too.
2 of those kills onto Shaden also, who does have the very early Trinity Force. He's had that for a few minutes now, and I mean, we wanted to see some really strong communication from both of these teams. I think Evil Geniuses have really shown it to us, at least in the early stages of this game. Not too dissimilar to the last game that we just saw, where Evil Geniuses had a very strong early performance. Can they keep this level up throughout the entirety of this game, though? Have they made those adjustments just in one game?
We'll have to see. I mean, AOE looked pretty good when it came to around this part of the game, right? 15 to 25 minutes is where they were able to use Will on the Vi to get kills for Lynx, get kills for Darkwings, but haven't seen that just yet. Maybe an opportunity here around the top side. King getting a little bit of help from Smoothie to zoom on out of there as Will is unable to find a play.
I want to get a stack check real quick on Shaden, because we know he took the Scuttle Crab before. We know he's got 2 kills to his name. Okay, he hasn't marked anybody that he has killed, so just the 1 Scuttle Crab. Doesn't matter too much, I will say. You really want to hit 4, obviously, but just 1 is fine for now. He's clearly still dealing a lot of damage, and he does have the Trinity Force, so I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal, but I think it's good to check up on that.
It's always a little fun minigame if you're playing against the Kindred to just try to run as fast as the market camps and enemy in your jungle before the Kindred can get to them.
Quick, kill those
Like
raptors!
it seems like Will's doing a pretty good job right now, kind of timing that perfectly to be around the raptor camp, and so Shaden won't be able to pick up another mark until a kill goes his way. EG stacked around the mid lane for now. Darkwings a little bit of trouble, gonna get knocked up here by the Charm, using the Rocket Belt to escape, and the Tibbers is unable to find a stun.
That Rocket Belt was interesting. I don't know what specific skill shot he was trying to dodge. The Charm was already used, so it ended up looking a little silly, but Tibbers there just trying to dissuade any other sort of play. We were talking about the stacks for Shaden. I think he's got bigger fish to fry, as the Rift Herald is going to be spawning again, looking to take 4 for 4 in this series. Already had 3 so far. And yeah, I'm liking his chances. He's very strong at this stage of the game, and so is King, who does have that ultimate available again. With that and the Kindred Lamb's Respite, this Vi ultimate doesn't really seem that impactful, at least it hasn't so far.
Such a large part of AoE's champions that they have selected in both games against EG so far have been Will and Darkwings on the Vi Annie. Instantaneous burst to try and lock down somebody. We saw the Milio be a big factor in stopping that in game 1. Now you have extra tools like the Lamb's Despite, like the Featherstorm out of King, and it will allow for Shaden to pick up this second Herald. However, the Eye has not been claimed, and so EG are going to have to fight their way out of it. Soul coming in with a TP. They want the Eye so bad, but Will is trying to defend. He will end up ceding it, and now Ryoma is coming through the Hex States already. Smoothie picks the kill up onto Will, and Darkwings is stuck in a 1v5, uses the Blast Gun to escape for a little bit, but Ryoma will take him down.
Ooh, the Hexgate flank does not feel good there for AoE. Now 5-0 on the side of Evil Geniuses. They're going to lose that bot lane turret, but pick up another Herald for themselves, pick up another couple of kills, this time onto Will and Darkwings, who didn't even get to use their engage ultimates in that exchange. And this game seems to be falling apart very quickly for AoE.
It seemed like maybe AoE had the opportunity to punish EG there on that play, right? Like they stacked a bunch of players in the Herald pit right around the Eye, and Shaden couldn't get to the eye, couldn't pick it up. That's the whole point of taking the Herald. But Concept didn't use his teleport to get into the fight. Soul did. And that was a big reason why EG is able to come out on top. They're up 3,500 gold right now.
With that 3,500 gold, I have an important question that AOE is going to need to answer for us here. Is that too big to overcome? Is that way too much for this scaling composition to actually win from? Because they do still have the Ornn, they have the Aphelios, they have the Lulu, and they have ways to engage to facilitate all of that damage.
Gonna have to try to do it around this dragon. They root up Soul, try to chunk him down. The Tibbers comes down. Darkwing's in a little bit of trouble, and already Lynx is dead. The dragon goes the way of Will, and now AOE have to retreat. Concept gets one back, but Darkwings will fall alongside Breezy. It is just going to be a 3-for-1. Darkwings is somehow still alive. They're looking to try to give the kill over to somebody. I guess Shaden will pick it up and pop the ulti to make sure he does not burn down.
Oh, I didn't know the Tibbers died in that. That's actually a new interaction to me. I'm very curious to know how that works, but yeah, Shaden does have to use his ultimate just in case the bear found his demise. Raptor can't picked up.
Shaden doesn't have ulti now.
Too far.
Maybe a little bit too over-aggressive. That's the side of Shaden that we want to see a little bit less of on EG.
But did he get the mark? That's the important question. We'll check. I think we can't click him until he's alive, so we'll see if it was worth it. If the mark is taken, then no, it probably still wasn't worth it. That's a big shutdown.
No, it's a big shutdown.
Pretty important.
Yeah.
Well, 2 kills for AOE. And again, that question still remains. Is this lead too big to overcome? The late game is on its way eventually, especially if Evil Geniuses can't stop that in time. We may have another close game on our hands.
Yeah, going back really quickly towards Shaden, I mean, this was the first kind of big mistake that he had, because he's had a lot of good plays this series, including here around the dragon.
We gotta get another look at this one. Shaden kind of pushed away from this objective. A nice attempt from AOE, but this Gragas ultimate from Soul has just been the catalyst so many times to shutting down the backline of Area of Effect. And from Evil Geniuses here, they just get to clean up everybody else. I don't know how... Okay, Realma does actually dash over this wall. I think just trying to play it safe, make sure that Darkwings has no form of escape, but ended up leaving his team out to dry a bit there, and eventually leading to Shaden's death.
Oh, and Lynx is in trouble as well. There comes Soul. Call the Forge God lands in onto King. Has to be careful. Does not have the ulti, but the healing out of Smoothie is so big, and the Xayah will survive.
Oh my god, Soul's Gragas has been so clutch in this series today, Andrew. Yeah. We really wanted to see more out of this guy on the Evil Geniuses roster, and just today, just on these 2 Gragases, I feel like we've seen it, especially more so than we've seen throughout the rest of this weekend. Well done to Soul so far.
Yeah, I mean, again, Soul, this player with such a great start of his career in 2022, faltered a little bit alongside some roster weirdness that happened with EG last split. I think a lot of people were expecting Soul to have a really big turnaround here in the summer, and on the Gragas has done a great job utilizing all of the abilities in his kit to perfection, and will be a big factor of EG's win if they are able to go 2-0. In the top side though, Smoothie's alright.
That was almost a support moment, as we said before in the last game, where you want to ward something and you're playing Lulu and you go a little too far, but that time he did have Flash, luckily, so Smoothie able to make his daring escape after dropping the ward. Evil Genius is now up to a huge lead in this game, and probably going to be looking towards that Baron very soon, as that one is now on the board. As the Hex Gates are allowing them to redeploy onto this Rift 2 items onto King. The Quick Blades being a very fun one that I think Xayah is the only champion in the entire game that really builds anymore, so good for King.
A lot of very strong items now onto King with that and the Kraken Slayer completed. Has also had a very strong series. We regarded him as the win condition in Game 1. Maybe a little bit more of a mixed bag in Game 2 with Shaden on the Kindred and also having a really strong performance. But again, this is a player that missed so much of the spring split and was a big part of the roster that EG decided to build. And he's trying to prove that it was you know, just him being a big reason why they're going to do well here in the summer. Another fight potentially breaking out here as Shaden's going to look to dash forward. Ryoma as well, but now Lynx is here, has the Moonlight Vigil. Not going to go just yet. Big stun onto Darkwing, and the Moonlight Vigil comes through, but Soul with a massive cast. Will and Lynx will survive. The damage is not enough, though, from AOE. Concept is getting burned down. The Wild Growth, not enough to save his life, as Shaden will pick up the kill. No top laner on AOE, as EG have a 5v4 with the Baron up.
I am just continuing to love Soul's frontlining in these games here, Andrew, but I've talked about that enough. Let's talk about the interaction with Smoothie's Cozy Campfire and the Double Marksman, because everybody on AoE ran for the hills as soon as they saw a Kindred with additional range. That's ridiculous. This champion is so powerful at this stage of the game. Another kill for the Kindred. There's the Baron, and Evil Geniuses are certainly going to get the 2-0 today.
They have the Baron, they have an 8,000 gold lead, and they aren't even going to give this dragon up to AOE. Will and the rest of the team thought that they might have had an opportunity to sneak this one by, but it will be them hovering around and probably going back to base to try and make one last-ditch effort, I guess, under their Nexus. Oh my god, Jaden. He is, I guess, face tanking this. Breezy going forward as well. Shaden will not get a kill, but man, this Kindred is pretty strong. Leave. Summer, are you there? Or am I disconnected? Okay, I believe Summer has left us for a little bit. We're going to try our best to get her back onto the show, but we might just have to close this game out because EG are looking to do just that. Concept now under a lot of fire as Ryoma comes forward, and another great cast out of Soul will take Breezy out. A 2-for-0 in favor of EG as Ryoma will dash over the wall and Shaden might follow as well. Lynx is only level 11 alongside Will. They have a lot of disparity here. Darkwings maybe with one last-ditch effort, but Ryoma will survive, and Shaden will pop the Land Respite. Lynx, under the invulnerability, will only live for a couple more seconds as the clean ace comes through for Evil Geniuses. 15 kills for 2. We're saying they needed a good performance to close out week 1, and they will do just that with a sweep over AOE. 9 seconds on Concept. Breezy has respawned, but I don't think there is enough to help AOE stay alive here in this game. Ryoma flashing, King flashing for a little bit of extra style, and EG making their way towards the Nexus. The Call to Forge God will knock up 3. King has to pop the Featherstorm, but will survive because there's just not enough damage on AOE side just yet. The Root will connect to save his life, and he will live through it all. EG with a 2-0. A great game coming out here for the side of Evil Geniuses Challengers. They get the win in just over 25 minutes. You can take a look at the damage, and it was Shaden on the Kindred being a huge reason why they have jumped up to a 4-2 record. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, Joshi will be by to have an interview with the winners, Evil Geniuses.
Welcome back, everyone, to the LCS Challengers League. We are joined here today by the victorious AD carrier from Evil Geniuses Challengers, King. He's been long awaited. He's finally back. I mean, we got to talk about it a little bit, King. We missed you entirely in spring, but you get your 2-0 now, and you're the first player, I believe, on your team to come have an interview with us.
I think Soul had one.
Oh, okay.
Thursday.
Oh, that's true. Soul had one. All right. Well, now you are the second player
I'm the second
on your team to have an interview with us.
It is my first interview this year.
It is true. Now, we got to talk a little bit about it, right? We missed you entirely during the spring split. What were you up to for these past couple of months?
You know,
Things.
I've been pretty unlucky throughout my career. I think in 2020 as well with C9, I had visa issues. Same thing happened this year. I missed the whole split. But mainly I was just chilling at home.
Nice. Now, I heard you had
right?
multiple accounts as like the number 1 and 2 on like the Oceanic ladder.
No,
Not this time?
not this time.
Okay, okay.
That was a long time ago. But I think I solo queue. I had to take like, it was like going into like a radiation zone, you know. I like to like detoxify myself every now and then. So I actually didn't play that much. But
Oh,
you know, I was keeping up with the pro games. You know, I was watching pretty much virtually every
yeah.
every pro game possible, like the major leagues.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Glad to see that you're at least getting something in during the off season. And then, of course, I know that it was rough for you, but it was a very tough time a couple of weeks ago for everybody in the ecosystem. As somebody who was, I believe, still in Australia at the time, what were your thoughts on everything that was happening?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it was like an emotional roller coaster, you know? Like, I wake up one day, like I'm finally going to America. Then like a week later, it's like, oh, we don't know. Like I forgot my flight, right? And then I find out like, oh my god, I might not even be going anymore because of what was happening. And then yeah, I was just sweating my ass, like just like, bro, like, am I gonna like, is this the way it ends? You know, like, am I just gonna,
No.
you know, I've been waiting here the whole time to play. I finally think I'm gonna go, and then it finds out, you know, it's done. But yeah, I mean, I'm really grateful that EG decided to keep the team, and I find like I have one more chance, you know, to win challenges.
And it feels as though you're making really good on that chance so far, even though, you know, yesterday was a bit of a rough one. It still felt as though you did quite well. And then today's games, it still feels as though you've kind of been living up to the legacy you've built for yourself as one of the strongest Oceanic AD carriers over a long time and continuously being one of the better AD carriers in the Academy and Challengers League. Do you feel as though you're just right on back in form?
Nah, I mean, honestly, I feel like I'm pretty bad right now.
Really? You're looking good.
I've been really bad. Like, I mean, I'm like leveling up, you know, like the first day of scrims, I'll say I was like a big dirty enter, but you know, I haven't played comp in like 6 months, right? So
yeah.
I've been pretty bad, but I think, you know, I'm not even like halfway to like where I think I can be. I think as the split goes on, I'm gonna get a lot better, and as I get more used to the champions as well. But yeah, I think I've been pretty average.
Fair enough. Well, it has gotten you a couple of wins today, but we do have to recognize that the previous couple of matches that you guys have had have looked a little bit shaky. It doesn't necessarily seem as though the communications have been as good as you're potentially hoping. Oh, it sounds like you got thoughts.
Yeah.
Spill the tea, sister.
Communication, honestly, I think that first game we just played, like, it actually, I don't know, like I can't even describe in words how disruptive and chaotic our comms were. But you know, we managed to pull the dub eventually, but I think by the end of it, everyone was like, we lost it. Like, everyone might as well be bold after that game, but it's chill.
All right. Well, hopefully
we're a new team. We're getting better.
You'll get better. You've only been here for, you know, not all that long, and I'm sure you'll have a tempering voice, right, for the rest of the team. There you go.
Definitely.
Then we got to talk about it. King, Steve has been a big fan of it. We're all a big fan of it. You have had 10 different haircuts listed on your wiki page in the past. Now you're bringing a new one with the blonde. What's the inspiration behind it?
There's no inspiration for it really. Like, you know, I just think, I mean, honestly, it also like, I just think people look better with like different color hair, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I like this color. I used to have it, and I just haven't had it in a while because it was really hard to manage. Actually, no. I bleached my hair once in LA, and it was the worst thing I've ever done.
Uh-oh.
It was like the worst job.
Did you forget to put in like the purple gel or something?
No.
Okay,
like,
okay.
I don't know. They just like turned my hair to straw.
Oh no.
So I made a vow to myself, I'm never gonna bleach my hair if it's not in Australia.
Oh.
I finally had some time off in Australia, and I did it, and yeah, now it's like this.
I mean, it looks good. It's also reaching my favorite part of whenever you get that platinum blonde hair, you start getting the black poking out underneath, and it gets like all kinds of crazy texture. So really, really big fan. How does this rank on your tier list so far of all the different haircuts you've had?
I mean, this is probably definitely in the top 2, top 3.
Top 2, top 3. That's what we like to hear. Can't wait to see what you'll be doing with it next. Well, before we let you go then, King, and while we wait to deliberate on what the community thinks of the new haircut, is there any other shout-outs you'd like to give?
I don't know, just thank you to everyone that's you know, still follows me. I mean, I still get messages like people like saying like, oh wow, you're actually back. Like, they're still supporting me, and yeah. Also just want to shout out OKC.
Yeah. Okay, Cupid?
No,
your coach, right?
No.
No, wait, what?
Just OKC.
All right.
Like, if you know, you know.
If you know, you know. All right, well, the rest of us are going to be left in the dark, but thank you so much, King. Congratulations on the 2-0 today, and we will see I'm sure way more of you throughout the course of the regular season. Before that, though, we will have to go to a short break while we wait for our next series of games where we'll be watching Maryville University take on Cincinnati Fear. Don't go anywhere.